It's too sweet to tweet. Too much power for Facebook to devour. It's the PriMalLow Wrestling Show with Robert Price, Tom Malloy, and your host, Rich Lopez.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 54 of the PriMalLow Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Rich Lopez, and as always, to my right, Tom Malloy.
Hello, hello.
To my left, Robert Price.
Hey there, guys.
And we are the PriMalLow Wrestling Show, the PriMalLow crew, I'm sorry.
Woo! We are the PriMalLow crew.
We'll kind of advertise these later, but we got some new shirts here. The oddball, Black Sheep over here got a different color, but we'll explain that later.
Black Sheep, but I'm wearing gray.
We do have a couple for sale. Anyway,
Nothing's.
coming up on tonight's show, we have the Raw recap. A lot of wrestling-based product I see was these last 2 weeks. We had AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Cesaro. We're going to talk about those matches. And Shane McMahon in control again. So, like I said, we'll talk about that. We're also going to do our topic discussion, kind of a two-question thing. We're going to talk about maybe the more wrestling-based product that there's been since WrestleMania 32. And this is going to lead into a brand split, due to the depth of the roster.
We're also going to do Pick Your Poison, bringing it back. This week's topic.
It's going to regard the 2001 invasion angle.
All right. And we're also going to take PriMalLow Mailbag. This week we have 6 questions. That's
Thank you,
six,
guys.
not
Thank
6.
And then we conclude our show with our self high five. Future feuds that we want to see Roman Reigns in.
Now, before we get started, I just want to say, obviously, due to the cooperation from you guys, the audience, social media is doing us great. We want to continue that. Facebook, PriMalLow Wrestling Show group page, and the official page. Just type it in on the search box, and you'll find us. We're also on Twitter, at PriMalLow Show. Excuse me, I was doing a Malloy there.
Jeez, Malloy, there was your chance to yell at him.
Yeah, you could have yelled at me. We're also on Blogger. We do a couple articles, a couple images, stuff like that. The PriMalLowWrestlingShow.blogspot.com. And then we're also on SoundCloud and YouTube. You can just search for our weekly episodes whenever you can. So, got that out of the way. Thank you, guys. Keep it going. Obviously, we'll talk about that with our PriMalLow Mailbag. But let's get to our Raw recap. I want to save you last because I want the Malloy rating. But, Price, start off with you. We had Shane McMahon in control. We had the number 1 contenders tournament for the tag titles, which mainly you, but we've been talking about, pushing for some meaningful matches.
Right.
Even though there's no title-based stuff like that. We also had Dean Ambrose interrupting the highlight reel with Chris Jericho. And then Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. A lot of stuff. I don't know if you just take it from there.
Can I just hit all?
Yeah, hit whatever you want, man. Even the stuff that's not bulleted here. Whatever.
All right. Shane McMahon in control again. What was the point of the WrestleMania match? Hopefully, we'll discuss in our topic discussion, but I won't get into great detail. But why is he controlled again? Number 1 contendership for tag team titles. That's a double whammy there about what we've been saying for multiple weeks.
Yes.
Meaningful matches for number 1 contendership. Also tournaments that have meaning. Dean Ambrose interrupts Chris Jericho. I really felt as though that was a waste of time.
Really?
Out of the entire thing, that was the low point of the entire show. Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles totally impressed me, especially when Sami Zayn almost spiked himself. I thought I was going to see somebody get paralyzed off of a sunset flip.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt teamed together. It was once again the main event was the worst match on the card. Also, I wanted to point out Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson coming back.
Yeah.
Person I was watching with was like, oh, wow, they're calling him Luke Gallows? I was like, yeah, they're not calling him Doc Gallows, which he was called in TNA.
Exactly. Real quick, I just want to counterpoint. I agree with everything you said. They're great matches, especially I like the Kevin Owens. I wonder what they're going to do with Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon when he interrupted him and stuff like that, because I think Kevin Owens is over. Ever since WrestleMania 32, he's been getting huge pops, and he's trying to be the biggest heel, potentially, outside of Chris Jericho. Go ahead, sorry.
Do you know what he can do?
I don't.
He could do a 450 splash.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I thought he was going to do that last night.
So did I.
During that match. I just see him leap up there. I'm like, and the kid I was watching Raw with, I'm like, yo, dude, you got to see this. He's going to do more than and it was like a frog splash, and I was like, come on, man.
I got you. I really want to save you last because I want to. Yeah. I got a thing I want to show you maybe after the show, but it's in regards to your rating. But I'll let the build up from Lloyd begin. I know.
That's
and
a tease.
For you guys, especially for you guys. But I want to just counterpoint the Dean Ambrose Chris Jericho. I really enjoyed the Chris Jericho segment. I didn't really agree with it when Dean Ambrose came out, but I liked Chris Jericho being a heel and doing what he was doing, if that makes any sense. Just the way he degrades the fans, even though he sounds so hysterical. He degrades the fans. He gloats about how he's this legend, which he is, but, I mean, and then whenever he says the best in the world at everything I do, it's just so, like, it just comes out so.
There's no argument.
Yeah, there really is. It's just funny, and I just enjoy it a lot. The tag team titles tournament. I mean, I feel like there's. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know who do you think's gonna win? Anybody want to pick?
Well,
Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy.
I don't think that they're going to win. I think coming out of that, they might make it to the finals, and the Dudley Boys kind of screw them over.
Yes.
I used air quotations for use on SoundCloud.
Gotcha.
I love that feud that's going to come out of that 5-1, 5-0 feud.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. I think actually the Vaudevillains are going to win. The new NXT tag team that's not Enzo and Cass. Because like you said, I think... oh, you're shaking your head now?
I don't think that they're going to win either.
No.
I don't even know who's going to win, but,
I'm just thinking Vaudevillains, just because I think Enzo and Cass, they're going to be obviously the favorites, but Dudley Boys are going to, quote-unquote, screw them. I'll take your little mojo there.
Yeah.
But I think, all right. The
Tommy boy.
The build-up. Let's just start it off right now. What's the rating?
7 out of 10.
He said that a little too quick.
That was
a little too quick. I wanted to build up.
That was the highest probably I've given a Raw in the past 54 episodes.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I think last week was what, a 6 out of 10?
Yeah.
So
it keeps getting better and
we
better.
Are getting
and plus,
higher,
my dad, Dr. Phil, was on the show.
Yes, I wanted to say that.
Shout out to my pops. Looks just like Dr. Phil.
Yes, Molly's dad does look like Dr. Phil. Yes.
So that really did not impact my play at all. But it was awesome seeing Shane McMahon again. Didn't understand why he was there, but he's back by popular demand, and they do what's best for business. So that's why he was there. That's why I felt as though I took it as a viewer, okay, best for business, Shane McMahon there.
Yeah.
Tag team title tournament. We talked about that. We were we need tournaments that have meaning. Look at the King of the Ring tournament this year versus this tag team tournament. This tag team tournament had 2 matches, and it's 10 times better than the King of the Ring tournament.
I hope they do.
Ambrose and Chris Jericho. I think this is going to be a very good feud. It's going to help each individual coast off into their next direction. Where I think Ambrose is going to be going after the title, and Jericho's going to get that 10th Intercontinental title.
That makes a lot of sense.
And Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, can't argue that match. Fantastic. And I want to go against Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. I thought that was a really good match.
I agree.
It was just the two. It's the two power, the two different most dominant powers in wrestling. I look at it as
the biggest potential heel and the biggest potential face.
Yeah. It's Rock and to me it was Rock and Taker, going against the oddities. With a little more kick to it.
I'm not gonna say no, but I'm not gonna.
I want to say
yes.
I would say that it's more like Rock and Taker taking on Boss Man and Ken Shamrock.
Okay, that makes sense.
I still don't like the Rock and Undertaker analogy. I don't know why. Maybe you guys are comparing them.
Yeah.
Identical characters.
What do you look like?
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. But I feel like they're the two faces outside of Rollins.
But one thing I want to ask you guys though,
Austin, Rock and Triple H.
Did you guys think the ambush from Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson was an NWO kind of a thing? Because it was they came in, destroyed the Usos just like the Outsiders did. And maybe they're gonna be saying there's another guy. There's
gonna be
AJ Styles and
Finn Balor.
Yeah. I think they're gonna help Styles win the belt at Payback.
That'd be awesome.
I would.
But I think he's going to have a long reign. I mean, I hope it doesn't because I would love AJ Styles to win. But it's obviously, if you attack the Usos, who's family with Roman Reigns,
it's starting to set up towards it.
It's going to be family versus Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Bulletproof, excuse me. Yeah, there you go.
Somebody online said that they did not like how they introduced Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, that it was poor.
I can see the argument for it, but you have to go in really great detail. For a tag team, I feel like that's the only spot for them to do that in.
It was impactful.
That's what I mean.
They're the biggest tag team besides the Usos.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, outside of the New Day, Usos have been the most consistent tag team. So, I mean, if it wasn't New Day, it had to be the Usos, and it had to be a tag team in the tournament. So, I think it was done right. However, if you want to mean how the announcers portrayed them, I can see that. If that makes any sense. Because I hate
they already knew them.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I hate about that stuff.
Who
are JBL goes, oh, my sources told me they were going to be here today. Well, then why didn't you bring it up in the beginning of the show?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just hate stupid stuff like that.
To me,
I know they're trying to make it that kayfabe, they have real sources and they're reading stuff online, but at least try to broadcast it throughout the show so it looks not so obvious when it happens.
Because it should have been even that Stock Gallows and Anderson from
New Japan.
New Japan. Oh my god, I just had a brain fart.
No, it's fine.
Like, oh my god, it's those guys from New Japan Pro Wrestling. What are they doing here? Like that kind of a thing. Like kind of like. I mean, sometimes you just can't go wrong with a template. And the NWO template is, I mean, one of the best. I mean,
it happened with Nexus too.
Yeah.
You know?
If Nexus was done the right way, they'd still be a force today.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm gonna close out with this: is Reigns gonna stay face, or is AJ Styles gonna turn at Payback, or do you think this is gonna set up any like Roman Reigns family versus Bulletproof or whatever?
You know what?
Just close it out with this little prediction before we head out.
I don't even think it's gonna be the Shield. I think it might be Roman Reigns and the Usos.
No Ambrose?
No,
like
because that's why Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows attacked the Usos. That would make sense. If they
I know, but I mean, what if they helped AJ? Oh, no, that makes sense. I mean, that'd be cool. Then bring Balor and somebody else
Ambrose
towards SummerSlam or something like that.
I was also thinking, too, because the people who are faced on the poster for Payback is the Wyatt family. The Wyatt family versus Roman Reigns' family versus Bulletproof. You have three different.
They can't do that because they need the title match.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is going to set up, I think, for three different teams.
I mean, we'll see. Summer is always playing at a big angle, but I just wanted to see what your predictions were for the AJ Styles Roman Reigns match. We'll obviously get into that detail as the pay-per-view gets closer. Let's go to our topics discussions like we do every week. We'll just start out. We have 2 questions. Usually we only do 1, but it's not as there's not that much material outside of WrestleMania NXT. So since WrestleMania 32, obviously WWE's always been known as like this 30% wrestling, 70% entertainment, whether it's promos or packages, like promo packages, like soap opera storylines.
Right,
but obviously these last 2 weeks since Shane took control, I'm using that because Shane is on camera, but he's obviously not creative.
No,
there's been
Triple
a lot.
H is just getting more of a push.
Maybe it's just been more wrestling based. Like we said, we saw Kevin Owens, Cesaro. We saw that great Fatal 4-Way last week. We saw Zayn, AJ Styles. We see all these great things. Do you think this is a long term plan? I'll start with you, Moore.
I think it's going to be a summertime plan. It's going to spark the interest in the summertime because there's a lot of people, me myself included, who I'm not going to sit at home and watch Raw over the summer. I'd rather go outside and do something at night.
So make you want to,
make me want to stay in and say, you know what, screw going to play basketball, play baseball, or whatever. I'm going to sit at home and watch Raw because it's entertaining television to watch.
And it's a lot of athleticism. How about you, Chris?
I think it's a test.
Okay.
They're testing this out to see if this would, I guess, till Money in the Bank, SummerSlam.
Okay.
I'll go with Tom.
Okay.
I just think that it's a test to see how this kind of style of creative will work out.
Okay. I'm going to go. I had a crazy idea. I'm not going to say it because it's so not. Like, it's just so
say
absurd.
Crazy.
No, it's just absurd.
We'll go
but
absurd.
I really think it's going to be until Triple H comes back on camera. Whether that's Payback or Extreme Rules, I really think Triple H is going to come in and try to be. He has to be a heel, so I think he's going to try to bring back that more entertainment base or whatever. Just because, even though we all know he's a wrestling guy because I watch NXT, but I really think him and Shane are going to have a feud or something. Because I don't understand why Shane's having all these wrestling, like just wrestling product. Do you know what I mean? When everybody knows Triple H's been pushing for this for years.
The only other thing that I'm going to say is everybody's excited about how Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin and the Vaudevillains and Enzo and Cass and Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, sooner or later it's going to run out. They can't introduce somebody every single week.
It's impossible. So, I mean, that was just a quick one we could talk about because that's a great answer. It kind of segues into a possible brand split because, like you just said, the roster is so deep. We have the established people, the Shield, the Wyatts, Jericho, Brock Lesnar, Cena, Orton when they come back. And then we have all these newcomers.
Which are not just mid-talent characters.
Exactly. They're better than mid-carders. I mean, obviously you'd have to play some based on storylines, but their talent is a lot better. So do you guys see a brand split to kind of maybe enhance this the performers to maybe get championships and more notoriety?
Yes, I would love that. If you had Raw where you have Cena and Orton and...
Would you like it like that, though?
Yes.
Like
I would love it as like how they had it before, that Raw was like the main place, the highest level of wrestling that you could have done, and then SmackDown was just the level below that, and then unfortunately the ECW, well, WWE's ECW, if you could even call it ECW, was like the minor league.
Yeah. How are you?
Like looking at that product, I would like to see them add another title. Even just give another area of like.
On a brand split or not a brand split?
If they're not going to do a brand split, add another title. Have like bring back the television title or the European title. Yeah, that'd be cool.
No, I am
but,
a European title.
If not, like
Television makes more sense though.
bring the brand split in and still even have and make sure you can even have the brand split, but all the champions have to be on each show.
I was thinking about that. Because I don't understand if you're gonna make all these new titles and then.
Like, what do you do with the world title? You're going to bring back the world heavyweight title?
That's
the
what
world
I'm saying.
heavyweight title can jump back and forth, back and forth,
Yeah.
back and forth. The talent can fight each other on SmackDown and Raw, but for the most part, you see the Intercontinental title. That's the mainstay title for SmackDown. They don't have to add another like world heavyweight thing. You know what I mean?
And
You
like
bring
the
more
US
prestige.
titles, the Raw title,
Yeah.
you know?
They bring more prestige to the mid-card talent,
Yeah.
mid-card titles. So Apollo Crews and Sami Zayn are having a match for the Intercontinental title. To people, they're like, oh yeah, they're just mid-card people. To us, when they're fighting for that title, that would be them fighting for the world heavyweight title. And
Yeah.
then you're bringing back the whole Rock versus Triple H, or you have Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, or so on and so forth.
What would you do with the women's division or tag team division?
The women's division, they could
Just
jump
keep the
back and
same
forth.
thing. Okay.
The tag team division could jump back and forth. You have the U.S. title that eliminates the IC or U.S. title.
And it just brings up the second prestige to almost like
You know what I mean?
number one based on a regularly advertised
Yeah, if
show.
you have a weekly, it doesn't even have to be the IC title that's strictly on SmackDown. Titles can jump back and forth. But I mean, if you just have that as the main event, you have the U.S. title or the Intercontinental or Women's or blah blah blah, you know, that would build up.
Okay, I mean I completely agree with you guys. However, I personally don't feel because that's why I didn't like the brand split towards the end of the run that they had in like 2010. I just don't like when it's too stacked, like as in like you said, like you don't mind the veterans and all that stuff because obviously based on reception, the veterans are gonna get more of I think more of a viewership.
Because they're established.
That's what I mean. And I don't like that because I feel like they should separate that and kind of make it more equal. That's just me. I mean, obviously everybody has their own opinion. However, my last question is, this is why I have a hard time with the brand split now, is what would you do for pay-per-views?
You could have both
You can
of
only,
them,
you
but
can only
this
do
is-
8 matches.
4 from
Yeah.
Raw, 4 from SmackDown.
There you go.
I don't like the idea.
You
of
don't
the
even
brand
have,
split.
no. Listen. The
I
brand
thought
split
you
could.
did.
The brand
I
split
don't,
could
but if
still
you had to
be.
do it, you could do it.
It could still be a brand split, but on the pay-per-views, there's 8 matches. How many titles do you have? You know what I mean? You have 4 titles, 5 titles, so that's 5 matches. So what? You have 3 other matches. So one from a feud that you've been seeing on Raw, one on a feud, or 2 on a feud that you've been seeing on SmackDown. I'll average out.
Oh, average out. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
I'll
I
average
understand.
out. Sorry.
No, I mean, that makes sense. I don't know why. I just feel like the pay-per-views, like there wouldn't be enough matches to showcase everybody.
Well, if they keep going the way that they're going now, then they can have.
It's gonna be worse,
They can have a
but-
7 or 8 minute match, like I've said before on the
Which
show,
they used to
and then
do
you could
back in
tell
the
a
90s.
story.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Or you could have the, what is it, 9, 10 match card.
No, I was actually gonna say I really think every pay-per-view base. I mean, I know the network kind of took down the money or the value, but I really think every pay-per-view should be at least 10 matches. Maybe put 2 on a pre-show.
Agree.
Yeah,
Put a women's match on the
especially-
pre-show and either a tag team or a singles match. Obviously, I would say more of a tag team so you could showcase more talent, and then have singles matches on the main card, and then obviously the tag team title match.
We all are in agreement on that.
So I just think that every pay-per-view to showcase all the talent that you have, because Ring of Honor does that, New Japan Wrestling does that. I mean, why can't WWE do that?
And I
And
think
I know
they
the
are going towards that.
I hope they do, because the promos, you don't need a promo for every match. Maybe 2 or 3 that's helped you sell the pay-per-view, but you don't need one for every match like WrestleMania. Like
Yeah. That's becoming more and more. I mean, if you took out every single one of those promos that they had inside the show, it would average out to another match.
I completely agree. At least one more match, and that's already at 9. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they go that
Well,
way.
especially with Raw going 8 hours, 12 hours. Next year, I heard it's going to be 24 hours.
It's gonna be.
So,
This is gonna be the original network 24/7. Remember before it
Yeah.
was the network, it was
Yeah.
WWE 24/7. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, if there's a brand split, it'll be interesting to see which A players go to Raw and A players go to SmackDown, because that was always a big adjustment towards the last couple of years. We'll see. And then what NXT people, if there's any more that'll be called up, hopefully not, because I think 5 last week was a little too much, but whatever.
Only
We'll
one
see.
I'm looking to come up is either Finn Balor or Samoa Joe.
That I was saying, there's gonna be a 6, so you just don't know where it's gonna be at, but. But then plus Orton and all them are coming back. It's just gonna be crazy for this summer. I'm actually kind of excited just to see how
Wrestling's gonna be.
this.
Business is about to pick up. It's
Yeah.
good.
That
Good old
or
Jamar
else
would say.
everybody's gonna get buried because the part-timers are going.
Especially when Lesnar comes back, I can only imagine
And
what's gonna
Taker.
happen. Well, Taker don't mind putting somebody over
Yeah.
a non-WrestleMania.
Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley and Steve Austin.
No,
They're all coming back from paychecks.
yeah, we'll see what
At
happens.
payback.
Paycheck, payback.
Payback. That's what the fans are gonna be saying if this card's not good.
That's true. Yeah, you want to do the PriMalLow Mailbag?
I really do. I really do. But before I do that,
Mm.
I think I'm gonna turn over the reins. Here's the reins. Here, Tom. There you
Yeah,
go.
give it to me.
Oh no, you don't have the reins. Here, you have.
I
Is
was
this,
gonna toss it
is
to-
this Roman's reigns?
I get it.
I get it. But
Because I'm controlling the show.
okay, go ahead with your part of the show.
All right. If you guys want, follow us on Twitter at the PriMalLow Show. Listen to us on SoundCloud, the PriMalLow Wrestling Show. Facebook, the PriMalLow Wrestling Show. Search in a little search bar. You can also be a part of our group, the PriMalLow Wrestling Show group.
Bang!
Bang bang. And you guys can read what we write, see what we draw on Blogger, PriMalLowWrestlingShow.blogspot.com. Look for our beautiful faces on YouTube, the PriMalLow Wrestling Show. Search for all of our weekly episodes.
I just want to put an asterisk next to that blog spot. We are not artists.
However,
we cannot draw.
if we can,
I have
if
very
we have
magical
any
fingers.
of his old scripts, maybe we should start putting them on.
We could start doing that. I could write a little bit. I mean, if that's artistic.
Well, I guess.
can't draw.
but it's not like Tom's drawings.
Yeah, it's not like, Mona Lisa, but anyway.
Let's
I
jump
forgot
into that.
Go
Our
ahead, Bryce,
first
sorry.
question is coming from Mike Danilevich, our OL.
Original listener.
Thank you, Rich. And he
I'm on the ball
says,
today, guys.
prior to the question, he said, Ring of Honor / the Indies took over Raw tonight. Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens, Claudio Casanova, Cesaro, El Generico,
Sami Zayn,
thank you, AJ Styles,
AJ Styles.
all right, thanks,
The Styles.
John
AJ.
Moxley,
That's Dean Ambrose.
thank you. He interrupted some old WCW guy,
I don't
Chris
agree with that, but yeah.
but he still said it. And Yukon Nation,
Is it that?
Apollo
That was Uwan
Crews.
Nation.
Uwan Nation, sorry,
Yeah.
in a quick match. But anyways, to his question. He says, my question for the PriMalLow Wrestling Show, Bob, that's me, are you happy with WWE got your memo about having tournaments and matches, having something on the line? Yes, I'm very happy. However, all three of us have been saying this for a
I
while.
was like busting on you earlier. Before the show, I gave him some slack. I gave him some grief.
He gave me
but
some slack.
I always bust on him. He just doesn't take it. The
However,
greatest.
I do
Depends on
like
the
the fact that they were going to have the number one contendership. I think that we've all been saying that for a while, and all been thinking it at least, if we did not say it. All three of us have been saying this off of the show, off of the airways, off of YouTube and SoundCloud.
Yes, just to touch on what he said, I completely agree. However, I'm more. Obviously, the tag team division. I feel like they added teams just to make it more like it's more deep than it really is. I would be more exciting when they do a number one contenders for an IC, US, or World Heavyweight because the singles competition is crazy deep. So I can't wait for that one. But I am excited for the start of it.
Well, speaking of last night, our next question comes from our favorite movie guy,
Wait,
J.W. Caldwell.
I was gonna say possibly.
Oh,
this
sorry.
Might give the
Jeez.
This possibly, if looking at tournaments, the King of the Ring might actually mean something this year.
Yeah, that'd be. See, there you
For
go.
the
Look at that
WWE title at
important piece of
SummerSlam.
information you missed, dude.
Well,
Unbelievable. I apologize.
before my
Thank you for that
segue
question.
was interrupted rudely by Tom Malloy,
You rudely cut him off.
well, I was excited for the next question.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Tom. I'm sorry. Anyways,
It's okay.
our next question, speaking of last night, comes from our favorite movie guy, J.W. Caldwell. Thank you for the question.
Oh, well.
He said,
I
wasn't
shall
Raw
answer.
last night? Did it remind you of why you love wrestling?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Just,
why?
It was a pure wrestling show. It was like, and it showed like it's still like it doesn't matter if it's a couple weeks after WrestleMania, you still get that shock value.
Sorry, I didn't know if you're. For me, when I grew up watching wrestling, I was only like 6 or 7, but Bret Hart, Owen Hart, British Bulldog, Shawn Michaels, Austin before he became really popular was a great wrestler. So was The Rock and Triple H. So obviously when you get to that main event level, you dumb your moves down to 5 or 6 moves, but when you're in that mid card level, you do wrestling. So that's what I always see. Like I see wrestling. So it's good to go back to that. I've always said I don't mind a couple promos or a couple interviews as long as it means something and it's utilized correctly. I just don't like a recap at the top of the hour. I hate that. Yeah, as we all do.
That's a waste
you know
of
what I mean?
time.
It's a waste
It
of time.
is.
So I'm glad that they're doing more wrestling and then an interview in the back to separate the action and then back to wrestling. I love that.
Do you guys think that it helped that NXT with people like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin, Enzo and Cass, Vaudevillains, going on and on, seeing their growth from NXT when they first started, and they weren't as good as they are now, to getting to the position that they're at where they're becoming champions or in title contention?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it'd be great because it's like almost like, I think I saw somebody compare Baron Corbin compared it to like an indie rock group that you always follow, and you watch them perform at a bar, and then next thing you know, like 2 years later, they go to like they're at an arena selling out 20,000, 30,000 seats. That's exactly how NXT was. So say if you're one fan watching the very first NXT episode, watching Seth Rollins, now look at what he's become. So you always get that.
Biggest player in the
you can always connect to a wrestler you've always followed now because you've been watching them for years before they even get to Raw. And then also you get to see the development of how hard they work. Roman Reigns how green was he? And he's gotten better. As much as everybody hates him, he's gotten better. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
Same thing with Ambrose. Rollins on the mic. Big E on the mic. I mean, you can just see the development, and it's just great. And that's why wrestling, that's why you love it, because you see all the effort that they put into it, and you admire it.
How about you, Tom?
I feel the same way. It's awesome getting to see those guys. Like, it's like, just like as Baron Corbin said, seeing any rock group. And like, even for me, I just got in NXT like maybe last summer, and watching like Baron Corbin, he's one of my favorite wrestlers. Watching him grow, like he was awful this time last year.
Yeah, he was novel, but he wasn't good.
He wasn't nearly what he is now.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And
so.
he's so good on the microphone. I mean, he's much better. Well, much better on the microphone. He's not, and he's a better wrestler.
Yeah,
physical shape, everything else.
All right. Thank you very much, JW.
Thank you.
Caldwell. Speaking of a wrestler that you watched grow from knowing nothing to knowing a lot.
Yes.
Our next question comes from our good buddy, our favorite wrestler of the show, Ace X.
Yes. What's up?
Hello.
He says, if you were able to time travel, what event would you like to go see live? Start out with you, Tom.
I'd like to go to WrestleMania.
How far back? Is there a time frame?
No time
Anything?
frame. It's time traveling.
I'd like to go to WrestleMania 1. See where it all started.
All right. Why?
Just like, because I could say if I was travel right from now back to WrestleMania 1, I'm like, wow, I know where it's at now, but let's go back and be at the very first one, see how it all began without just watching on television.
Would you buy WWE stock?
Yes, I definitely would.
Okay, good.
I have a now is this like in hindsight, I'm assuming, or like
Yes, this is. We already know what's going on.
All right,
We
well,
already know what
you
happened.
already know what happened?
in the
17 then, WrestleMania 17. But WrestleMania 1 or 6 would be a close second and third.
past. Okay.
But 17
totally
is
buy
my
stock in WWE.
Yeah, 17 was, I think, the best card that you could assemble during the Attitude Era, which is obviously the hottest wrestling time. SummerSlam 2005 wouldn't be too bad either, but 17. That's my top 4.
My top 3 are as followed. My number 1, WrestleMania. Which one?
15.
WrestleMania 15. My boy knows me right.
Very cheap because you could just drive down there.
It doesn't matter. My number 2 would have been King of the Ring.
Okay.
What King of the Ring?
Ooh, man. I'm going to say...
2002.
One that happened in Pittsburgh.
I was going to say 98 or 99. 98, though.
98.
Thank you for that hint.
I would love to see Mick Foley go flying off of a cage.
That's a good
and
moment.
Thinking that he died.
That's a very good
And then
moment.
have him go on top of the cell and get thrown through and almost die.
And knowing that he died.
He did die. However, I might have changed it that, he wasn't able to run out for the main event because it might have been cool to see King get lit on fire. And my number 3 is from 1999, and this is not, so do not take this the wrong way, anybody that's listening, but it would have been Over the Edge 1999.
You don't even need to explain it.
Because I would have loved to seen the last match on Sunday Night Heat of the one Owen Hart.
Hey, yeah. That's true. I always wanted to know what Owen Hart would have done, especially backstage.
And I probably would have said to him,
Don't do this.
don't do it, and just walk away. Anybody that doesn't know that, that's a Dane Cook joke.
Is it
if
the
you
right
check
time?
it.
Is it the right time to do that? Though?
It's not a joke about Owen Hart. It's a joke about
Dane
that's
Cook.
what he does. Yeah,
Oh,
Dane Cook.
okay.
And
So-
please, no one try to sue us because we have no money. That was not a joke towards Owen Hart. We really appreciate his wrestling ability. And
Oh my good
God
golly
rest his
gosh!
soul.
And with that, we're gonna go to the next question from
They know
our
that.
boy Matt Yuzako.
Yuzahiko Wade.
We know him. We're not trying to be rude to his name. We all know him. Matt Yuzaka, what's up?
And he says, What unknown or least expected wrestler do you guys see becoming WWE champion in the near future? 1.5 years or less. So pretty much someone who's up and coming, but maybe not as known yet. As a top guy.
You know, you guys probably pay attention to the indie scene more than I do, but man, I don't even know.
I would like to see Jay Lethal.
I was thinking him, to be honest with you. Actually, I really was.
But he's not in the company.
Oh,
we have to-
in the company. I'm gonna go.
company.
Paul,
okay. Oh, that's easy. I
I'm
thought
gonna
you
go.
meant, like,
I'm
okay,
gonna go Paul Crew then.
Apollo Crews.
Crews.
I'll get it sooner or later when he's world champion.
All right, cool. I thought you meant like on the indie scene or something. For me, you know what's really weird? I was actually, anytime before 2 minutes ago, I would have said Sami Zayn because I just don't see him as champion. Like, I feel like he's too good, like too of a good guy. But after that match with AJ Styles and he gives those like kind of like frustrated expressions, I kind of grew on him more as a, he could do either or. So for me, I would like to see, and I don't know if this counts, but he's on the downfall, Kofi Kingston or like somebody from New Day. Does that count or no?
I guess that counts. I mean, like, it's an up-and-comer.
They were never really top
I'm just saying, they're
Yeah.
never really top guys. And
Yeah,
I mean, Kofi had his one shot, but I mean, everybody knows he's on the down. He's not because of his talent, but just because of the way he's in a tag team now.
He's in a tag team. He's more of a coaching role right now.
He's
pushing Big E, who I think is going to be the last man standing out of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Three
I
of
would
them.
say Big E over Kingston, but I just feel like they've been so hot and they've kept everything so fresh. They should be rewarded somehow.
They will not be broken up anytime soon. I can
hope
tell
not.
you that.
How about you?
We will keep it all in the nation with Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is the man. I believe that he is going to be, as Tom said before, he's said, and backed me up on this, I believe he's going to be the first
You did.
African-American World Heavyweight Champion. The
You
first
Bobby
face of the
Lashley
company.
should have been, though.
Yes, Bobby Lashley should have been definitely.
I don't
But-
know. I think Apollo
But no, Apollo Crews deserves
is
it.
way better than
Yeah,
Bobby
and,
Lashley.
He's not
in
as
his
green.
prime.
He knows. Yeah, he
and
definitely
when he
knows
was
more wrestling and
Ooh
more athletic.
Nation, what was it?
Ooh Nation.
Ooh Nation. I watched some of his matches from Ring of Honor. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
this guy's
he's good.
fantastic.
He's good.
So thank you very much, Matt Uzako.
Let us know who you think, Yuzako.
Yeah, we're happy to see you getting back into wrestling again too.
Yes.
Yes.
I guess.
Next, we're going to go to Call Me Crow, Caitlin Rowe. She posted, "What do you guys think of this? I'm not really a Game of Thrones fan, but it was really good to read. The article was about 5 Game of Thrones storylines stolen from the WWE Wrestling." She said, "Did you see any other storylines that were ever ripped off of other TV shows?"
That's a good question.
Okay, I'll start it out. Recently, I seen that The Walking Dead, they opened up and came out with barbed wire bat shortly after the WWE. Mick Foley gave Dean Ambrose the barbed wire bat. I think that's one of the things that you have connections. A lot of times in pop culture, there is there are. What are you doing with your mic?
It fell down.
Oh, okay.
So that went boom.
A lot of times in pop culture, a lot of stuff is copied from WWE. I talk about it all the time when you have the music that goes into WrestleMania. You hear it a lot
Oh, of course.
more after it's on WrestleMania on all the radio stations and stuff. WWE is becoming what it was before when it was rock and wrestling.
Yes. I just got a lot of people that just enjoy it, So, for me, I'm just trying to think. I mean, I don't know if it. I'm gonna go intertwine. I'm gonna go where wrestling took off of some movies, just to maybe give a counter argument. I mean, the Crow, Sting took his makeup off the Crow, or did something like that.
Right.
And then if you want WCW, they took that NWO thing off of New Japan. I mean, that's
New
wrestling
Japan
off
Pro
wrestling,
Wrestling.
but I mean, obviously not domestic wrestling, as in the nation. But that's something I can really think of off the top of my head. I know they gave Santino Marella that push. Remember they had that push right before WrestleMania 28 due to Jeremy Lin from the New
Jeremy
York
Lin,
Knicks,
yep.
that underdog story from Harvard, the basketball player. So, I mean, they do a lot of stuff like that. The women's wrestling, the Divas Revolution started because of the women's soccer team won the World Cup, FIFA World Cup.
And then UFC.
UFC
Yes,
too.
and then UFC as well. So, and it's just a lot of intertwined stuff. I don't know if you could think of any other.
I was thinking of one too. I don't know who stole it off of who because they're maybe closely around the same time, but I could see each watching it. I was thinking about like Dragon Ball Z and looking at the Cell games. The Cell games was like who would go on to keep fighting, who would fight Cell and save the world. But it takes its same look as like the King of the Ring. Like who is the Master of the Ring.
Okay.
So it's like that same concept for the tournament. So I don't know, or else like you look at like I don't know, you compare a lot of Dragon Ball Z storylines to the WWE.
And the last thing I'll say, the one biggest thing that I've always seen from WWE, WCW that was hugely compared was Vampiro and Gangrel. Vampiro, not a fan of our show, but we still love him.
Yeah,
and
we do.
Gangrel, he's going on making movies now still, so hey, good luck to you, Gangrel. So thank you very much, Caitlin, for that question.
Thank
We're
you.
going to move on to our last question. Surprise! Believe it or not, we're not going to run out of air. Robert Smith.
What's up, Robert?
He says,
Hello.
He's a friend of mine.
Of yours?
Of ours, but I mean,
Who?
yeah.
Who?
No, go ahead.
Robert Smith says, can you discuss what your top 3 matches of all time?
Due to time, I don't want to just let's not describe. Let's just list.
Let's just list.
If you want, we could go on Blogspot, and we could explain ours.
Now he's making me do work. But go on, Rich. Give me your
type
top
them,
3.
I'll type them for you.
Jeez.
My 3, no order. I'm going to give an honorable mention to the I Quit match between Mankind and Rock. But my 3 is TLC 2, WrestleMania 17, Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys. My number 2 is Bret Hart versus Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. And then my number 1 is Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 25.
I have Rock versus Austin at WrestleMania 15. I have Edge versus Mick Foley. No, I meant WrestleMania 15.
No, I'm saying that.
Correct me.
No, that's good. That's good.
No, it's a good one.
I have Edge and Mick Foley. I believe that was WrestleMania 22.
Indeed. Look at you.
And Taker versus HBK 2 at WrestleMania 28. 7.
6.
6.
So close. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I forgot Triple H fought twice too. But yeah, that's not particular order. There's 3 matches I always try to enjoy and or mimic in my WWE games.
Well, since Rich took my number 3 of Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker from WrestleMania 25, I'll pick another number 3 while I'm going through this.
It's a great
My
match.
number 1 is Undertaker versus Mick Foley, Hell in a Cell. My number 2 is Macho Man Randy Savage versus The Ultimate Warrior.
That's a good one, man.
Thanks.
That's my top 10.
And then my number 3 is Kennel from Hell match.
No, you're not.
Al Snow versus Mick.
Dude,
No, it's Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 26.
Oh, the second one.
Ooh.
You just did that on purpose. Anyway, let's just continue with the show. Thank you guys, by the way. Like we said before, Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube, Blogspot. We will explain why. Maybe we'll throw in our extra 2 to round out the top 5. We'll see. We will just do whatever we want to do. Time for our Pick Your Poison. Like I always say, the 4th segment is usually like our wild card. We usually change it up every week. It's buy or sell, this or that. PriMalLow remakes. We might start doing brackets again in the month or 2. I'm just saying that's a potential.
Ooh.
Marketplace, wrestling marketplace. So
I love that.
Yeah, we'll a lot of wild card segments. But this week it's Pick Your Poison. What we do is we have a list of selected wrestlers, and then we're gonna give them options on a feud that you wish, happened. This topic of choice is the 2001 invasion, where there's a lot of people that weren't around due to contract issues. Some were injured, but we're going to, I guess, put the injuries aside. We're actually going to talk about the contracted guys.
Dreams.
Yeah, so it's just our dreams. I mean, obviously it wasn't a reality because history already happened. So we're going to start off with The Rock. Obviously, and nobody switched sides, by the way. These are all WWE wrestlers. Rock, Steve Austin, Undertaker, Kurt Angle, and Chris Jericho. Start off with The Rock. The options that you have here to see: Scott Hall, DDP, Rob Van Dam, Price.
I'm going to go with DDP. In his interview with the show, he said that the People's Champion
Versus the People's Champion.
versus the People's Champion.
Because he was the People's Champion like 98 in WCW.
And it would have been awesome because DDP, even though his age, I think that he would be able to compete and still race with The Rock. Scott Hall, I think that would be great, and Rob Van Dam would be great, but DDP is my choice.
I agree.
I have Scott Hall. I think it would be cool to see that. It'd just be a good rivalry, I believe.
Okay, Scott Hall was my number 2 choice, but I have DDP as well.
Ooh.
He said on interviews a million times he wanted People's Champion versus People's Champion. However, I will say DDP's hottest point was 97, 98. I think by the end of 2001, or beginning of 2000, I think he lost it a little bit. Although I still think if he got motivated enough, he could have put on a hell of a show, especially with The Rock. Because, him and Booker T are my two favorites from WCW.
That's right.
Next one is Steve Austin. These are pretty good. I like this three lineup. We have Hulk Hogan, Taz, and Goldberg. The reason why I have Taz is because he was pretty much the face of ECW. Austin was the face of WWE during that time. So, I know it's kind of a, whoa, how'd Taz get in there? And plus, they had a lot of friction during the Alliance. And,
Yeah, they did. Yes,
you know what I mean? So that's
We
why.
had a great time watching that on Saturday.
Yeah, we did. We were watching that on Saturday. Moy, start off with you.
I'm Goldberg.
Okay, why?
I think they would just have a great match. You have the face of WCW during, I think, the highlight of the Monday Night Wars, and then you have the face good guy of WWF during the height of the Monday Night Wars.
Okay, Bryce.
Hulk Hogan.
Oh, okay.
I think this match should have happened at WrestleMania, more than The Rock versus Hogan.
I agree, but I think we all know, especially us wrestling marks, that would have nobody would have put somebody over. It would have to be like a run-in from the NWO or something. Hogan wouldn't put Austin down. Austin wouldn't put him down or put him over.
Yeah, I'm surprised Hogan put The Rock over.
Movies.
Yeah.
Hollywood. That's
Hulk
the original.
Hogan.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan. I have Goldberg. Pretty much like Malloy said. They almost looked alike. Obviously, I don't know if it was intentional or not. I'm assuming it's not. But face of WCW, face of WWE. Taz would actually be my number 2. I just think Hogan and Austin just wouldn't be a good match, like he said a million times. Next one is Undertaker. We have the options to see Kevin Nash, which technically that has happened. It was Diesel in 1996, but Kevin Nash, Goldberg, Price. You want to finish it off? 'Cause I know you have them.
Or my pick, the Icon, the Hall of Famer, Sting.
Okay. You said a
It's a
million
match that
times.
should have happened, that still has the opportunity of happening, and I really hope that does happen. So, even though a bunch of people say that this match shouldn't happen because there should still be that what if, but
I think as years go by, people are becoming to accept that.
I'm not accepting that, and
I
I
know
feel
you're
as though
not.
they should have the match.
I know you're not. Boy, how about you?
I have the Icon, Sting.
Same reasons.
Same reasons. I mean, at this point, there's no even sense of like arguing why Sting is a better choice.
No,
It's
you
just,
can't. All right, well, I have Sting circled, but I just want to give a devil's advocate to
Oh.
Kevin Nash, just because
Ooh.
I feel like he proved himself. Yeah, I was gonna say he proved himself in WCW, and I don't know.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Goldberg with the streak.
I was never ever a Goldberg guy. I mean, he
Good.
was entertaining to watch, but I don't know. I just
Go fix your hang now. Next question.
yeah. Talking to me?
No.
Oh, okay. Kurt Angle. These are really good choices, I think. We have Rob Van Dam, Rhino, and Lance Storm. I know Lance Storm's not on the marquee value, but great wrestler. Malloy? Okay.
I have Mr. Personality, Lance Storm.
Yes, if I could be serious for a minute. Why?
I just think those two styles. What shot, dude? I think Lance Storm and Kurt Angle would have like one of the best series of matches. They're just both very good wrestlers, both very athletic, both very talented.
Okay.
I think Lance Storm could have been a lot more over in WWE if he had a personality.
That would if I could be serious for a minute. That caught on, I thought. But how about you, Chris?
I picked Lance Storm just because of the matches that they would have. Rob Van Dam, although he was very athletic, I think that the credit was not given to Lance Storm with the way that he is able to compete and the way that he is able to work if you just have a good opponent. And with him, I don't feel as though that he was able to have a good enough opponent to be able to put him over.
Lance Storm is my close second to Rob Van Dam, just because if you have the option of Rob Van Dam or Lance Storm, Rob Van Dam I think is just more entertaining. The crowd will be with it more. Do more spots with Angle. I'm sorry, Price. I'm sorry, Malloy. But Lance Storm is my close second because of the technical wrestling skills that he has. Almost like a Chris Benoit.
What was that? Whoa!
Chris Benoit.
Hopefully there's a bleep in there. Two of them now.
No bleeps, uncensored.
Whoa!
But yeah, either one for me. But I've taken RVD because he's just more popular. Finally, Chris
The
Jericho.
Rock has okay, Chris Jericho.
Yeah, Chris Jericho. We have Scott Hall, DDP, Booker T.
Scott Hall. I just feel as though this is the match that would escalate Chris Jericho over in WWE.
This would be the battle of Intercontinental Champions.
Yes.
At that time, especially, they're both like 4 or 5 time Intercontinental Champions.
Maybe they could have a ladder match.
Maybe.
I have Scott Hall. I think it would just be very entertaining wrestling value.
Oh, I didn't know what you were doing because you
I
had
was
the
like,
diamond.
I
up.
know, then I was
But
just
you didn't show it.
it.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think they'd have a very entertaining storyline. They're both just two guys who just, in my opinion, just never got 100% over.
Okay.
They're like stuck at that 95%.
95.
1995, good year for Razor Ramon and Chris Jericho.
The Lionheart.
I got Booker T. Am I biased?
Yes.
Can I say that though? Everybody knows over Scott Hall though? Everybody knows how much I like Scott Hall.
No, I think this was the hardest pick of yours.
Yeah.
Because you love Scott Hall. I don't think you love Scott Hall. I think you love Razor Ramon.
Yeah, I would say of all three though, actually they're my three favorites in WCW.
I think you were biased writing this out.
I told you, man. You didn't give me any options to help me out. That's on you. That's on you. Yeah.
Whoa.
I can't do it all myself. I strictly asked you. I need help.
Calling me out on air.
I think Shannon Moore would have been a better choice.
Thank you.
Shannon Moore? Unbelievable. I just had Booker T because he was athletic. And plus the feuds that they had in WCW before Jericho jumped ship. Awesome. Booker T loved wrestling. Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit. He just loved, and they're awesome. Go ahead.
Since I'm not worried about us going heavy, who would win? 3MB or 3 count?
3 count.
I'm going to say 3MB.
I'm going to say 3 count.
Really? Outnumbered again.
They had a cool manager.
I think Price outnumbers me on purpose anymore. I'm coming to that conclusion.
Shannon Moore and Greg Helms.
Speaking of 3 count, how about we count down our self high five?
What?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Self High Five, where this week we're going to talk about Roman Reigns' future feuds.
You can start off.
Okay, are we doing this?
No, go ahead since you.
Jeez, Tom, keep going.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Number 5, I have Luke Harper. Number 4, I have Chris Jericho. Number 3, I have Samoa Joe. Number 2, I have Bray Wyatt. And number 1, I have Dean Ambrose.
Do you want to explain any of those?
Explain. And not like an intro body conclusion, just like a 2-sentence.
Not a 5-paragraph essay?
No, just a couple sentences.
Essay.
We're running close on time.
Luke Harper, fantastic. If he gets a little bit more of a push, him and Reigns, 2 big men. Vince McMahon loves that. Jericho, I think he deserves the belt one more time. Samoa Joe, it'd be great to see him just be there. Wyatt get the title. First, I think he should get it off the leader of the Shield versus the leader of the Wyatt family. And then Dean Ambrose, because Reigns needs to turn heel like ASAP.
Brother versus brother.
Yeah.
Brother. Scar.
Brother.
Price, how about you, man? 5 through 4.
My 5 through 1. 5 through 4, jeez. 5 through 1.
3, 2, 1.
My number 5 is RKO. My number 4 is Dean Ambrose. Number 3, Bray Wyatt. Number 2, AJ Styles. Number 1, Seth Rollins. Number 5, Randy Orton, just because the feud that they had was so nice that they should do it twice, especially when it comes with the World Heavyweight Championship. Dean Ambrose, because I think this match would actually be good if they actually pushed Dean Ambrose and let him get a couple spots rather than just, be a jobber when it comes to the title.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Bray Wyatt. Once again, so nice. We need to do it twice. Bray Wyatt really sells this match by himself.
The Hell in a Cell match I still think is better than Taker Lesnar. Call me crazy. I don't care.
He's
cray.
He's cray. McCray Kirsten. My number 2 is AJ Styles, just because I think AJ should win the belt. Okay. And my number 1 Seth Rollins, because this is a perfect feud and it did not happen.
It was almost gonna happen, which is why he's my number 1. But
what?
Yeah, let the cliffhanger. I don't cliffhang. I just ball. I just ball.
Honorable mention 5 other people.
Honorable mention the next 4. Number 5, you have John Cena, because that means one of them are going to be heel, and I can't wait. My number 4 is Cesaro, because they tore it up in that Survivor Series tournament, and where Cesaro got injured, actually, but it's a great match. Number 3, Kevin Owens, because he's amazing.
He doesn't have a symbol.
And he just does this all the time. That's why I'm the champ when he was IC champ. Number 2, Dean Ambrose, and number 1, Seth Rollins. As much as I would love to put Wyatt on my countdown, because you guys know he's my favorite, that means Wyatt would have to be heel, because I don't see Reigns being a heel in that feud. I like Wyatt face because it's something new, even though I love heels. It's something new with Wyatt, and he's not acting like a face.
He's got a foot fetish.
Yeah, so Dean Ambrose would be great. It'd finally be the brother versus brother, and then Seth Rollins. It's the feud that is just bound to happen. It should happen, so we'll see how that goes. And
all right.
End scene. And this is the PriMalLow Wrestling Show, episode number 54. I'm your host, Rich Lopez. Tom Malloy.
Hello.
Robert Price. Hello.
Oh yeah, we've been
Goodbye.
we've been here for 49 minutes. I forgot.
You want to do the social media again?
All right, guys. You guys can follow us on Twitter at the PriMalLow Show. Listen to us on SoundCloud at the PriMalLow Wrestling Show. Like us on Facebook. Search the PriMalLow Wrestling Show. You can also be a part of our group, the PriMalLow Wrestling Show group. You can look for Rich's finger paintings on Blogger at PriMalLowWrestlingShow.blogspot.com, and then search for us on YouTube, the PriMalLow Wrestling Show.
Real quick, I almost forgot. Check these out. New shirts.
And look how jacked I look in it too. You can be jacked like Malloy. Get the shirt.
Front.
Okay,
Back.
on the front of the shirt is a circle, and it shows our logo, our newest logo. On the back, it shows our Twitter handle, our
Facebook
YouTube,
group.
and our Facebook, and all that jazz.
So I just want to say thank you guys, and stay tuned next week for episode 55.
Hey, what about my sign-off?
Let's try this. Oh, this failed.
John Cena, you can't see me.
And they're $15 a piece.